What's up YouTube, DMLX here, and welcome back to another episode of Rate the Fighter, where we break down and rank combatants in our favorite fighting games based on design, moveset, specials, finishers, and overall skill level. In today's episode, we'll be analyzing the Viltrumite warrior Nolan Grayson, better known as the superhero, the Thinker, OMNI-MAN from Mortal Kombat 1. The first DLC guest character to be released as part of Combat Pack 1 alongside Quan Chi, Takeda, Ermac, Peacemaker, and Homelander. In the world of Invincible, OMNI-MAN fought to protect his adopted homeworld as one of the Earth's most powerful champions. He even raised his son Mark Grayson, who would grow up to become the hero known as Invincible, hoping to follow in his father's footsteps and carry on with his legacy. Unfortunately, little did Mark know OMNI-MAN's true purpose was not to protect Earth, but it was to conquer the planet for the Viltrum Empire, a powerful civilization for whom hunger for expansion across the cosmos with no intention of slowing down, even if they end up stuck in another reality. But before we move ahead with the breakdown, make sure to Viltrum smash that like button, I really appreciate it. And with that being said, let's see what makes OMNI-MAN so deadly as a combatant across the 6 realms. When looking at OMNI-MAN's base design, he's sporting his iconic superhero costume and bushy mustache ripped straight from the comics/animated series, which has been given a bit more detailed textures to blend in with the world and graphical presentation of Mortal Kombat 1. NetherRealm understood the assignment and didn't take the time to make unnecessary additions to the look of OMNI-MAN, plus all the color variations are quite solid too, with patterns referencing that of his homeworld of Viltrum, Adam Eve, and Invincible. Overall, an S-tier 1-to-1 recreation of the Big O himself in my book. OMNI-MAN's basic moveset plays like an aggressive brawler by letting his fists supply most of the damage being dealt to the opposition. His air combos are quite satisfying to execute and deal heavy amounts of damage if set up properly. It has a well choreographed throw where OMNI-MAN places his victim on the ground, then flies off and comes back to hurl a giant meteorite onto the poor soul. But the lack of strong mix-ups makes OMNI-MAN's basic attacks easy to manage and set up for a counter-strike. Although I did find his overhead around the world and his 2 lows, like an ant and earthquake stomp, some of the most clutch moves in OMNI-MAN's arsenal. Overall, not the strongest lineup of basic attacks in Mortal Kombat 1, but enough to make OMNI-MAN stand out amongst the game's roster. So I'm placing OMNI-MAN's moveset in the B tier. OMNI-MAN's special moves are a delight to perform in-game, as they greatly take advantage of his super Viltrumite speed and flight capabilities. First there's Mega Clap, which is great for keeping opposing threats at a distance, and if you enhance Mega Clap, you'll be able to increase the range and destroy incoming projectiles. Then there's Giblet Maker, which is basically a really aggressive chest bump. Next we have Invincible Rush, which acts as Raiden's electric fly attack, albeit much faster with less sparks. Lastly, we have the Viltrum Stance, which allows OMNI-MAN to perform a wide variety of moves, whether it's simply teleporting behind an opponent, performing a combo that ends with a broken spine, a grab that'll have the opponent eating gravel, a simple uppercut to the jugular, or a devastating superhero landing from above. Not to mention the passive effect of being able to dodge projectiles while stationary in the Viltrum Stance, and when enhanced, can dodge high and mid attacks from opponents as well.
But wait! There's more!
All of OMNI-MAN's special moves can be executed in the air, with Invincible Rush being my favorite to use because you can set up an additional string of attacks if you're able to land the overhead special. OMNI-MAN's Fatal Blow is a piece of rage-fueled art as it recreates the moment when OMNI-MAN beats Invincible, his son, to a bloody pulp, pounding his opponent's face in mercilessly. All in all, OMNI-MAN's special moves are a lot of fun to pull off in a competitive play, with the drawback being that they're effortless to counter, seeing that they are classified as mid and overhead attacks, ergo making them highly punishable if blocked. So timing is key, and one must think one step ahead of their opponent to get the most out of OMNI-MAN's Viltrum set of abilities. So for that reason, I'm placing OMNI-MAN's special moves in the A tier. OMNI-MAN's finishers perfectly encapsulate who he is as a character, an unstoppable force of remorseless destruction. All of OMNI-MAN's brutalities are a 1-to-1 recreation of kills from the animated show, from War Woman getting her neck twisted, Darkwing getting ragdolled, to OMNI-MAN chest bumping through a soldier's body like a bug hitting a windshield. OMNI-MAN's fatalities in Mortal Kombat 1 are quite literally the best in this series thus far, thanks to the great source material the developers over at NetherRealm were able to extract from. Starting with Like Putty, based on how OMNI-MAN put an end to Red Rush, getting to see the intensity in OMNI-MAN's face while he's squeezing his opponent's head like a stress ball will go down as one of the most intimately engaging fatalities in Mortal Kombat. However, I do wish the developers added an animation of the opponents frantically punching OMNI-MAN's torso as a last-ditch effort or survival, like what Red Rush attempted to do on the show. Next we have Trained Killer. Not only is this finisher one of the greatest fatalities of all time, but I consider this scene to be a top 10 moment of violence depicted in all fictional media. NetherRealm captured this horrific moment perfectly, down to OMNI-MAN's menacing grin as the body count continues to rack up. No further explanation needed. OMNI-MAN's finishers are pure S tier, and I don't know if any other character in Kombat Pack 1 will be able to top them. In terms of skill level, OMNI-MAN isn't really a pick up and go type character. One must be watchful and methodical when taking control of one of Viltrum's finest during competitive online play. Seeing that OMNI-MAN's basic and special attacks are equally rewarding as they are punishable, OMNI-MAN has a wide variety of moves that make him a threat at all ranges, and offers several defensive maneuvers that are greatly beneficial when avoiding incoming projectiles. NetherRealm nailed the sense of speed and strength OMNI-MAN can generate as a warrior of Viltrum, and thankfully didn't take the lazy route of making him a Superman clone minus the heat vision. However, I can't recommend OMNI-MAN to fighting game beginners due to the mildly complex structure of his playstyle that heavily relies on precise openings against opponents. Knowing this, I'm labeling OMNI-MAN as a mid-level entry fighter. As a result, if we average out the ratings on the fighter tier scale, OMNI-MAN ends up being classified as a mid-level A tier fighter. So let me guys think in the comment section down below about the addition of OMNI-MAN being in Mortal Kombat 1. Is he one of your favorite guest characters in Mortal Kombat of all time? And how do you think he fares in competitive play? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps me out. Subscribe for more content from me on Mortal Kombat and other games in general. I'm DMLX. I'll see you in the future.